Dun, dun, theme song. Dun, dun.
I'm Tanya,
I'm Nikki.
and we are 1,000 Eyes in 1, the
The
podcast.
podcast.
Tonight, we're talking about Season 1, Episode 10, The Black Queen. To find previous episodes, go to thousandeyespodcast.com. You can also find us on YouTube, 1,000 Eyes in 1 podcast. And if you'd like to follow us on social media, we're on Twitter as 1,000Eyes1, Facebook and Instagram, 1,000Eyes in 1. If you're interested in our speculative fiction book club, that is Wine on an Empty Stomach on Instagram.
Season finale.
Season finale. It didn't feel like a season finale to me.
It didn't, and I think I like that about it. It gave me, it's very cliffhanger. I'm like, ooh, we're coming back for more.
It felt very, I mean, I guess we know it is the beginning, because I was going to say it felt like just like the beginning. It reminded me of Wheel of Time.
At the end of a prologue, right?
Yeah. It feels like we've come to the end of a prologue, and now, the war begins.
Oh, man.
So we start with Luke at the painted table. Oh,
OMG, the table. That's what I wrote down. OMG, the
beautiful.
table.
Poor Stannis didn't know it lit up.
Get those notes when he moved in.
No, he did not.
The realtor was like, not telling him that one.
It's so funny.
Yeah, poor Luke.
Yeah, he's insecure.
Imposter syndrome, big time. Poor baby. He's like, I
he made good
points.
Yeah. How can you be Lord of the Tides when you get motion sickness just being on a ship,
Like your grandfather.
Right.
Because Viserys was always green he got green sick on the ship too.
Right. So, he had a point, but it's like, Lord of the Tides is also just a title. It can be just a title. You don't have to be the one leading the Navy. You could have someone do it for you. But I felt bad for him. It was nice to see that moment between them when he tells her she's perfect.
I know, it was so sweet. It was so sweet, and it reminded me. I mean, I think that, but and also something later reminded me of something we talked about before. It's just like the different upbringings, the different parenting styles, and what they yielded. Because you have Rhaenyra raising her children the way that she was raised by her loving parents, right? Who were raised by loving parents, and you see like this love, this family love passed down. Like they like everybody likes each other through this line, as opposed to like the High Towers where it's always like some kind of strife, and there's always a motive behind everything. It's not just unconditional.
Right. When Rhaenys arrived with the news about the crowning.
Did you see, wait, before you say that, did you see Lucerys's face? Because they were just talking like the sea snake is gonna die.
Yes,
and
I was about to say.
He was so nervous. Okay,
yes, I was gonna say
steal your thunder.
It's okay. Yeah, when she walked in, he definitely looked like he was scared she was gonna say that Corlys was dead. And I'm sure Rhaenyra was kind of thinking the same, because why else would Rhaenys just show up?
Yeah.
Emma Darcy's facial acting in this episode,
So good.
it was incredible.
I think like I liked her. I liked her throughout all the episodes, but like this one cemented her as one of my baes. I was just in love with everything. It was just played so well.
I think they're non-binary.
Yeah, oh, sorry. Yes, they
Yeah.
they are.
Anyway.
They are, but the performance is just beautiful.
Yeah, the performance is absolutely gorgeous, and I think that they need to win an Emmy for sure. Emma and Patty, I think, were the best actors of the whole season.
Right.
They just did so much with just their faces without even having to say a lot.
Yeah, they really did. They really did. I think what struck me, besides the fact that they're expecting the news to be about Corlys being dead, is just that all the things that Luke was just saying to her about how he doesn't want it, he's not really prepared, and da da da. It's like now she gets to experience all those feelings immediately after she's telling him to like buck up and be strong. It's your duty, it's your destiny. We don't get to choose. And here comes Destiny knocking on her door with, whew,
Yeah. Yeah.
the bad news.
We got the answer for why Rhaenys didn't just blow everything up when she had the chance. She said
Hmm.
this, the war is not hers to begin.
I know. Suspicious ass Damon. He's like, well, how did you escape alive?
I know. I
They
know.
killed him. I know they killed him.
He's
My brother
so
has been slain.
he's so hungry for battle. I guess it's been a while. He was ready to go out and
Yeah.
kill some people.
Yeah. He was at home playing Dada.
He's
Sea Snake was off at war and he was playing Daddy.
like, I'm tired of this father shit. Should go
Hmm.
kill somebody.
So ready, but it's just like, you know, he like the and we see this throughout the entire episode is that he's just ready to fight. He's just ready to fight. Like, yes, there's some planning involved or whatever, and he goes straight into war mode.
Yeah,
But it's like, calm down, Damon. Also,
seriously.
fall back, calm down and fall back. Like, chill. This is not, you don't get to make these decisions, you know? Um, and I'll say
I,
more about that later.
so Rhaenys decided she's not starting a war. And that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense because I was also like, you have the chance, do it now. But she's right
Auntie
though.
Ray.
Yeah. But she's right though. It isn't her war to start. And
Mm-hmm.
if they can avoid even going to war, like I could understand both sides of
Yeah.
Damon wanting to go to war immediately because I mean crowning Aegon was an act of war in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. It was absolutely an act of aggression and treason, and they know it.
Right. And but I also understand Rhaenyra when she says she doesn't want to rule over bone and ash.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't want to be queen of the ashes.
But
uh,
backtracking.
yeah.
After she gets the news, obviously we know that she now is going to go into labor.
Yep. Early
Um,
labor.
let's talk about that part because a few weeks back in our spoiler section,
Mm-hmm.
we were speculating as to whether or not she'd give birth to a monster like people
Right.
described in Fire and Blood. Um, what did you think? Did you like? I thought the head looked kind of ridged,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought I saw a tail when it first came out, but then I was not sure.
Yeah, when they did the shot of the foot, you could see like the toe was a little bit deformed, but then you could see like the head was a little bit like a like tumor, like it was almost like it was covered in tumors, and
Yeah,
it was not the normal shape of like every other baby we've seen, come into the world. It was much bigger and it wasn't smooth, and also, um, you could see later when she picks it up that the back is a little bit, it's got like ridges and it's a little bit scaly.
yeah, yeah,
Poor thing.
yeah.
Poor thing. But what I really liked about that scene, well, one, I've never, like I said, you've had babies. I've never given birth, but I thought that it was like a little bit real. Well, was a little realistic. Like she's kept saying, she's like, "Fuck." I'm like, I feel like yes, that's what
Yeah.
women say when they're having babies. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm so excited. Let the baby come. She's like, "Fuck, get it out of me," But what I really enjoyed about that scene was that it reminded me, because like while she's doing that, Damon's planning for war, right? And it reminds
Hmm.
me of what Emma was saying about their birthing bed is the battlefield.
Right. And then
Oh,
we also get the cuts with her dragon
with her dragon.
going through it with her. Somebody
Hmm.
who was notably absent though was Damon, even though she was
Damon
screaming for him.
screaming his name out at the council, like everybody, like they could all hear. And there was
Yeah, they
the
were
knight
so
of the King's
uncomfortable.
Guard was just like,
Do
do
you
you want
want
to
to
talk to the
go
maester?
handle that?
And he's like, don't ever fucking talk to me.
Do you think he was kind of triggered because of Lena's labor?
Wait, sorry. Oh, maybe. I didn't even consider that.
Because like it was kind of the same thing, Lena screaming for it
Yeah,
to get
yeah,
out.
yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, I didn't even make that connection.
Yeah, I was thinking that after witnessing Lena's horrible birth and then
Hmm.
her subsequent death, that
Right,
he could have been in a place of, because he's not going to say, Damon's not going to say no, it's too scary for me. He's
right.
Damon.
He's
um
yeah, yeah, he's diverting his energy into something that he can actually quote unquote control.
right.
Um, Yeah, and I was gonna ask you, like, what do you think of his of Damon's preparation? But as you say that, maybe that was just his way of coping with it because while all this is going on, we have to remember that they're both still dealing with reeling from the news that Viserys is dead.
Right. Like this is she just got this news.
Yeah,
And now
this
she's in
just
this
happened.
horrible labor that he thinks could possibly kill her.
You know? Whew, that's a heavy. And yeah, yeah, it's a lot. There's a
And
lot.
this is only like 2 days ago did he kill Vaymond.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, it's only been like 2 days.
Yeah.
What a week. She tells Jace that nothing should happen without her
Hmm.
leave, right?
Yep.
And I feel like she really hated that she was missing out on the war council.
I think so too, but I think she also knows that Damon is impulsive and Damon is going to. Here's the thing. I think that at this point, what has to be going through her mind is that while Damon is not by her side, right, while this is happening, so she
Right.
knows that he's up there planning. So she has to call Jace to come and say, "You listen, you're the next in line. You're the second in line now. So you have to basically like all the things that you've been studying and learning. Now is your time to put that to the test. You actually have to act because you can't let Damon do these things. Because I like, how can she not be thinking, all right, well, technically I'm the queen now, but Damon wanted to be king for so long. How do I know that he wasn't just waiting for Viserys to die so he could just, I could be his side piece queen and he's actually the one who's in charge, Like as like
That
almost like a
dynamic
regent.
that dynamic kind of seemed there throughout the episode with him kind of
Mhm.
overstepping, overreaching, and her
Exactly.
having to rein him in.
Mhm. You just see that like over and over. He's like not listening to what she's saying. He's not paying attention to what she's saying. He's talking around her.
Right.
Um
And then
and
and speaking for her, people are
and
asking her a
speaking for
question
it.
and he's
Yeah.
answering it.
Yeah. And you saw she shot him a couple looks, but we'll get to those.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think about seeing the boys sparring finally? We talked about them how they hadn't had any training. Now they're on the beach waving swords.
um it reminded me of who was it? Aegon, who's beating up Jace.
Hmm.
It kind of reminded me of that instead of like teaching him, he's just kind of beating him up and yelling at
Right.
him. And so it brought me back to Kristen Cole,
Yeah.
basic not really training them, but just like getting them beat up. And
Mm.
what I'm who I'm assuming is a master of arms out there. It's like,
Yeah.
why aren't you leading this? I'm still
Yeah.
questioning their training very much.
Yeah. And it's just like, okay, I understand that you're trying to beat into your brother the sense of urgency, but that's not the way to do it. Like we've got different learning styles.
Right.
Maybe he needed to like see it step by step first before you like go start wailing on him. But then you
Luke's
also just see that Luke is just maybe not cut out for that.
I was just gonna say Luke seems very gentle.
Yeah.
He seems very gentle to me. I don't see him as much of a fighter, even
Hmm.
though he did take Aemon's eye, but that was
Yeah,
like,
but that was self-defense.
yeah, and also it was just like a quick, like defensive move. I don't think he wasn't like planning to.
Yeah, he wasn't intentionally saying I'm gonna take your eye out. He was like, ah,
Right.
here's my dagger. Whoops. Oh, shit.
An eye.
Oy, oy, oy.
When Damon made the Kingsguard renew their oaths, it reminded me of Daenerys,
Mm-hmm. With the Tarleys.
right, with the Tarleys. And I wondered which way they'd go. If, like if, I mean, I didn't think that they would be like, yes, I'm going to die because Aegon is king.
Yeah,
Um, but I understand why Damon was suspicious.
right. Yeah, I mean, you had to be. But I thought it was really funny. He's like, I'm gonna test your loyalty. I'm gonna give you a choice. By the
Right.
way, here's my dragon.
Yeah, the
Choose wisely.
choices stick with us, die quickly, or die slowly.
Hmm. Screaming.
And
Oh.
when they said die screaming, it cut to Rhaenyra screaming.
Hmm. Such
Poor Rhaenyra.
masterful editing,
Very good editing.
man.
And then Damon, we were saying how he's not going to show his feelings. It looked like he was mourning when he was out on the beach
Yeah, like
alone.
after that, and I thought it was just that whole scene was very touching. Like everybody, like you have all her maids or nurses or whatever who were there,
Like
and
the
like just saying
midwives.
thank you, the midwives who were like asking, like, let us help you, and she was like, no, 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 no. But then after that, she kind of just, and maybe it's just like, symbolic of the rest of the episode is she's doing everything on her own. Like she didn't recoil when she saw the baby, she held the baby to her. She wasn't like, oh my God, this thing is like, she's like, no, this is a part of me. She didn't allow the Silent Sisters to minister to the baby. She did it herself. Um,
Right.
and I
It
thought that
seemed
was
like she
really, really touching.
it seemed like she immediately accepted it when she saw.
Yeah.
Like she
Yeah.
knew what it was and just immediately, was just like, all right, it is what it is. Let me
Yeah.
take the next step.
It's like the baby's born, the baby's dead, the baby's deformed. Like, all right,
They didn't tell us
there are other things to do.
they didn't tell us the baby's name. In the books we get a name and a gender.
That's
The ba-
true. They did.
yeah, baby girl named Visenya,
Hmm.
her first girl
Her first girl.
after 5 children.
So
Someone,
much grief.
yeah, it's a lot of grief. This episode was very, very heavy on the grief. For
Hmm.
like, this has been, gosh, how much time has passed? She just found out her father died, and then her daughter dies the same day. Excuse me. I was
Hmm.
annoyed, and I was annoyed.
And it's like her father is dead, her daughter is dead, right? Stillbirth. And then also someone stole her throne.
Right,
It's like it's like I was like all these personal griefs, that things that are happening to her, like all these sorrows that she's like dealing with. But on top of that, it's like to add insult to, like literally to add insult to injury.
right.
Somebody usurped your throne.
And what bothered me as well was Damon next to her at the pyre, just standing there looking at her, but like, put your arm around her, bro. Remember, he sent her to go console her father when her
Hmm.
baby brother and her mother died,
Yeah.
and he didn't console her at all.
I think that I was trying to get a read on that moment, and I don't think that I took him to be cold-hearted. I think that he just, he probably needed it too.
Yeah, but
Probably needed it too.
I don't think he was trying to be cold-hearted. I just think that he is so wrapped up in himself and what he's feeling
But also,
that he has a
I think that sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say that he's not really there for her. He skipped out on the birth, even though she was calling for him, and she rocked the baby herself after
Hmm.
she's given birth to it, and then dressing it for its burial. And then we finally see him at the funeral, and he's standing next to her, just kind of looking down at her grieving. And
Yeah,
like,
but I wonder if like he can't, it's like if he like she's now the queen, right? She's now the queen. The last thing, like she has to, it's almost like she has to take this grief standing up. She has to be
stiff
strong
upper
through
lip.
it. Yeah, she has to be stronger because then she's just a weak woman who's like, yeah, I think it's for appearances that maybe it was a political move.
Hmm.
Because how are you going to inspire faith in your subjects behind you? Like, is it like the woman, she took her baby's death with, in stride, and then she turned around and started planning a war? Or is it like she went to pieces and now we can't trust what her judgment is?
Hmm. Yeah.
They already don't want a woman to be queen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir Eric.
Hold on.
Um.
Eric with an A. No, sorry, Eric with an E.
Eric with an E.
Eric with an E.
I was just about to say no, no, you cannot tell me I messed this up.
No, no,
Um,
I wrote it down because I can never remember if it's
yeah.
the A or the E.
Well, someone in our comments said that the show did mess up the subtitles and switch. So they was because remember I was
Oh,
confused. I was like, wait, I thought that
yeah.
that was Eric, and they accidentally named one wrong in the captions.
They were confused too. I'm not mad.
Yeah,
Like it's
I
really
mean
easy to
it's
do.
very confusing.
Yeah.
But Sir Eric arrives with Viserys's crown.
I loved him so much in that moment.
I did too. I thought that it was going to be the Lord Commander who shows up with the crown.
Mm.
but we haven't really seen him since he walked out. But when he walked out that day, when he walked out of the Green
Yeah,
Council, I thought he was gonna pop up on Dragonstone with the crown and then like immediately support Rhaenyra, and I was
right.
kind
Oh,
of
that would have
hoping
been
for it.
cool. Yeah.
I was kind of hoping for it, but Sir Eric is good too. Um, and when he restated his or renewed, I don't know, what do you call it when you renew your oath? His Kingsguard oath.
Mhm.
Oh, it had me in shambles. My feelings were all over the place. I was like,
Yes, I
I
too.
was like, oh my god, this is so powerful.
He's like dropped. He immediately dropped to the knee. It was like, here you go. These are. I
Ugh.
was like, oh.
And then Damon crowning her himself and being the first
Mm-hmm.
one to kneel, and then the sons and everybody else, and then we get to Rhaenys.
Auntie Ray, who doesn't
Auntie Ray was
kneel.
just standing there like, girl, I guess.
Well, I know I don't think that. I feel like she sees her as an equal. She is still the queen who never was, you know? And like it's a moment for her to actually see a woman be crowned. It's historic. I
I
feel
think,
like
but
she
I do
didn't
think
have
it
to
was
kneel.
intention. I think it was intentional though,
I don't,
because
yeah, I think she
I think she did it as a show of power,
hmm
um, and maybe slight disrespect. Because even if she's the queen who never was, Rhaenyra is the queen who is,
yeah. I feel
and
like
you
I
kneel
wasn't
before the
mad about
queen.
it. Like it
I,
was I looked at it, I was like, okay, you're not gonna kneel. I was like, but I was like, I kind of get it. I kind of get it.
I mean,
Like you're still waiting to see what type of queen you're gonna be.
right, but this is her coronation. Everybody
Yeah.
kneels. Everybody kneels. And she's I think she's still just mad at Rhaenyra, and is this is, her slight dig. And it was good that Rhaenyra didn't react to it because she
Mm-hmm.
has enough going on right now.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah,
don't need
choose your
to
battles.
push it. Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
Literally.
Jeez. Oh, man. Yeah. And then she walks in. She walks back into that room with the painted table as a queen,
As a queen,
officially.
and everyone bows except Rhaenys
Mm-hmm.
again.
She's smiling, she's giving her looks, but she's not gonna bow. But what I did really like is how oh my god, I'm gonna get the girls' names wrong.
Rhaena, who
Raina.
offered her the wine.
Here after the wine is a cupbearer, and then Bela walks over and like the women are included in this war council now.
Yep, right at the head of the table, flanking Rhaenyra.
Loved it. I
Loved
loved it.
it. And oh gosh, all these Rays. Rhaenys, gosh. Rhaenys had this kind of smirk on her face. So like at that point, I
Mm-hmm.
think she might have been a little bit impressed.
Yeah, I think she's proud. I think she's low key proud and holding it in. She's
She's
just
just
like,
trying to
what's,
get past the fact that she thinks that Rhaenyra murdered her son,
yeah, still
which is kind of a
getting
big
over it.
it's kind of a big thing to
Yeah,
get over.
yeah, that's true.
Because it's only
Keep it.
been what, 6 years?
Yeah. Oh man, Damon getting ahead of himself. Like, and
Yes.
again, I wrote like, Damon, you're just fall back.
Yeah,
These are not your decisions to make.
right. I was gonna say that Damon started acting as if he was king, not as if Rhaenyra was
Mhm.
queen. He wasn't deferring to her at all, just
Mhm.
completely overstepping. And you can see in her face that she was getting annoyed by it. And it's like, we're
Yes.
gonna have a talk about this later. But what was
Mm-hmm.
fun was him naming the dragons they have.
I've been dragon roll call.
Yes, the dragon roll call, Cyrax, Caraxes, Melees. When he said Melees, you caught Rhaenys' face like, oh, really? Melees? Just
You saw her,
assumed.
yes. Auntie Ray was like, don't assume. Don't assume that
Right.
my
Like,
dragon
oh,
is killing
word.
you.
Vermax, Arax, Tyraxes, Moondancer, the unclaimed dragons, Sea Smoke, Vermithor, Silverring, and the three wild dragons, whose names we do know from the book,
Mm-hmm.
and 20 eggs.
20 eggs.
But it's like, come on, bro. How long does it take for a dragon to be able to be ridden? And they're still
Yeah,
eggs. You don't even know if any of them will hatch.
exactly.
So
Or
to
make
me, it
it to
was,
adulthood.
yeah, it was weird to me that he included the eggs.
Mm.
But I liked the roll call. I enjoyed it. When Otto arrives with his group, what?
My notes say, so we meet again.
It's the same kind of scene on the bridge. And then
Mm-hmm.
lands on Dragonback and walks through the men again.
Yep.
Except this
I needed
time.
to ask you this question because I thought about this earlier.
Mhm.
Would you post ripping a big-headed deformed baby out of your vagina be able to ride a dragon?
No,
Tanya.
and actually I was gonna say that next. I was
Okay.
gonna say I was shocked at the strength of her coochie to bear to hop on the back of a dragon and like land. I couldn't even sit down too fast because I had to make sure I was sitting in the right position. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, girl, you and remember when she gave birth to Joffrey, how she could barely walk and was trailing blood. This is the
Walk
same
up the
thing. This is the
stairs.
same. Yeah, she
Right.
could barely walk up the stairs. And there's a fire under her. Well, literally.
You know?
It's on fire.
Literally. Because my exact note is, how's the cooch feel?
Yeah, yeah. I would be screaming and wailing and grinding my teeth if I had to ride a dragon moments after giving birth, even hours, even days. What did you think
Yes.
of Aegon's terms? Aegon's
Um,
terms, you know they're Otto's
Aegon's
terms.
terms, they're
Or
all
really
Otto's.
They're Allison's terms.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Um,
what did you think?
his I wrote generous terms and I put an exclamation point. Um, I mean, I guess they were reasonable, but like you can't trust that they're not going to kill you anyway. Like Damon
And
has
her
right to be
if even if they
suspicious.
didn't kill her, their two younger children would be hostage.
Exactly. Like we all know that's what the meaning of a cupbearer and a ward, and a squire is, you
Yeah,
know.
they're
It's
my
like we're gonna keep a
hostages.
close eye on you so you don't grow up and turn and like start a rebellion.
Well, not only that, but if Rhaenyra, agrees to the terms and then
Mm.
tries to go behind their back, they have two of her children as hostage to kill
Yep.
or threaten to kill.
We've seen this before.
You've seen it
Theon.
before. Did I notice though in the terms they refer to her sons as trueborn,
Mm-hmm.
so quietly legitimizing them.
Like we'll call them. We'll call them, whatever.
It's
They
like they're
could
giving her everything she wanted
yeah.
except for her throne.
Mm-hmm. Everything but everything
Everything
but.
but like the main thing.
You're like, why are we fighting again? Oh, wait, the reason that we're fighting, we're not going to talk about it, but here's all these other things.
Here, you can have everything you wanted except your birthright.
Yeah. Ugh, so crazy.
And so for those to be the terms, it's like these are the things that were owed to me.
Yeah.
You can't give
Yeah.
me back something you stole as a gift. Okay. The twins also I'm obsessed with Eric and Eric,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and we can get into spoilers about them later, but uh it was really tense between them because now you have one twin on each
Mm-hmm.
side and
Exactly.
both very much believe in their cause.
Exactly. And
And how do you
Green
say,
Eric like drew his sword just a
yeah,
little bit.
yeah, and
He
it's
was
like,
ready for the
wow,
fight.
you're ready to kill your brother this fast? Or is
Like,
it,
what have they promised you? Like, how are you believing in this? It's
I mean, it could
baffles
just
my
be his
mind.
sense of honor.
But I guess people do have skewed senses of honor.
I mean, they both absolutely believe that they're right.
Yeah. There can only be one. There's only one right answer, as we all know.
I also thought that Allison said, first of all, her saving that page all
Where did
these
she
years,
store that? In her little fucking scrapbook?
she put it in her diary because they were absolutely in love with each other. So,
How did Laris not get a hold of this and use it
I
against her?
mean, I guess it's not something he would have thought about, just a random page from a book.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, her sending that as like the plea for, the love we had
Like it's
between
really
us.
from me. That's her proof, right? It's not just my
Right.
dad's not just making this up. This is for me. I'm like vouching for him. Yeah.
And I feel like Rhaenyra, instead of taking it as like, okay, this Allison still has love for me and this is what she's showing, I think she's taking it as, you used to have so much love for me and look how you're stabbing me in the back.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
You stole my
remembering how
dog.
close they used to be.
Exactly. He's like,
Yeah.
you did all these things. My father sold you in front of you. Like we just made up and said that we were gonna be friends and work it out and like hang out with their families and shit. And you're sending this?
To just
Like
remind me how close we used to be before you fucked my
before you
dad.
exactly. Exactly. Like it's not it's having the opposite effect. Like, okay, I'll think about it, but like understand that it just makes your treachery cut all that much deeper.
Exactly. Exactly. Viserys never told Daemon about the Song of Ice and Fire.
I
So
love it. I
did he so
love
did he just never take Daemon seriously as his
no.
heir then?
No, I think he never did. I think that he I mean that's his brother. He grew up with him. He knew what kind of person Damon was. He knew um I did have a question about that actually. He knew his character and that he could not like be king. And he was very serious about Rhaenyra being his heir because one, he told her the prophecy, but I also wondered if if Rhaenys knows. Does Auntie Rhae know the prophecy?
Why would she?
Oh wait, no, that's right. Her dad died before. Got it. He would have known. Yeah.
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 She was never the heir.
Yeah, it's like because Aemond didn't tell wouldn't have had a chance to tell her before he died. If
Right.
Jaehaerys told Aemond, yeah, okay, got it. Answers that question. Um, yeah, it's so funny because they're like going for each other, and she like clears the room, and she's like, "Don't come for me. I've had enough today. Really, for you to like be
And
coming at me too."
and then for all his after all his overstepping to then choke her
They just choke her. And but this is like it further demonstrates. She asked him, she's like, listen, anger is not a good enough reason for
to go
us
to
to be
war.
doing anything. Like
Hmm.
just because you're angry. But and look at how you're acting. Like I'm your wife. I just gave birth to a dead baby and you're choking me out. And like my dad is like all these things that are happening that are going wrong. And that's how you're reacting. This is why you're not king.
She should have had
This
his
is why
hands
he
cut
never
off.
called you. Should have.
She should have had his hands cut off. I mean, she needs him for this war,
She needs him for this war. He's got to
but
yield and
it
fight
would have been
dragons.
it would have been in my back pocket and cut
But you
that
could
hand off later.
remember when?
Remember that
Why you
time
always
that you
bringing up
choked
old
me?
shit?
Give me that hand. Just be holding hands with Sweetly and then just like,
Uh,
nod to the headsman.
yeah.
Um,
The Queen's
chop that shit off.
justice.
Yes,
Wink,
chop
wink.
that shit off. Like, how
Now's the
dare you
time.
offend me with that hand?
Mm-hmm.
I don't forget.
Yeah. But I like before when she cleared the room that Auntie Ray looked over and she like looked at them with a little smirk.
Yes,
And
that smirk.
I was like, ooh, it kind of reminded me of Olenna being like, be a dragon. Be
Yes.
a dragon.
And I think these are the moments that we're seeing Rhaenys begin to actually
Mm-hmm.
respect her as queen
Yes.
because she likes the way she's running things.
Yeah.
And she's kind of right. Like, before I jump into a war, let me find out who my allies are.
Exactly. It's so smart.
Like,
So
Damon's
fucking
just
smart.
absolutely leading with his hard dick.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like,
His war boner.
tell me where to swing. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The thrill.
The thrill. Boom. It is.
There
Yeah,
it
that
is.
we missed it. We did last time, but it's gotta happen organically, guys. It really does.
Sanderson reference. All right, that's our reference for the night. But yes, it's like
Oh,
he
I
has the
feel another
thrill.
one. Hmm.
Yeah, it's like he has the thrill. He's just like this yearning and itching to fight and enjoying it. And it's like it's about Rhaenyra and her crown.
Mhm.
But I think it's also about him feeling slighted because it's his
Yeah.
wife.
It's yeah. Yeah.
That I
And
the feeling of
and
like, what did you think I wouldn't react to this?
yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's funny that you say that because I know we're going to talk about like Corliss next, but it's a very parallel situation to, like to their relationship. Damon, I was gonna say Matt, and Matt, Damon and Rhaenyra and Corliss and Rhaenys, right? It's like, oh, you know, you were slighted. It's your crown. Somebody stole it from you. That means that I have to do this. That means I have to do this. Heedless ambition, as he'll later call it.
Hmm.
But you see all these things, like you're not the only one grieving. I know that you're angry about my throne being stolen. I know that you're upset that that we lost a baby. I know that you're upset that your brother is dead, but you're not the only one dealing with the grief. I'm dealing with it too, and I'm dealing with it differently. Maybe
Right.
follow me because we have a realm to run. We can't just give in to our baser instincts.
It also reminds you after a few episodes of Damon not being a piece of shit that Damon is a piece of shit.
Lest you forget.
Right. It's like, he's playing stepdaddy and, you know, defending her honor, and now he's choking her out. So we're
Yeah.
just reminded of who he is.
Yeah.
Oh, Damon, Damon, Damon. Speaking of Corliss and Rainey,
Yay. Oh, Corliss, welcome back.
yeah, I'm glad Corliss lived.
Hmm.
And he didn't seem surprised at all by the news about Vayman.
No,
It was
no.
just like, oh, fuck Vayman.
It's like, oh man.
Vayman has probably had that conversation with him 1,000 times about
Mm-hmm.
why he should be the heir.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
So
And that's
that,
what and that's how she put it. She didn't mince words. She was like, your brother your brother was basically assuming that you would die and was trying to basically take your place.
mhm.
Sorry. Damon cut his head off. He's like,
That's
oh man.
she
Oh
just
shit.
she just delivers this death news so bluntly.
Well, what did she say? The stranger casts a long shadow over our family.
Yeah. She delivers dead news like she's a Caribbean woman. It's like, hey, your
Uh,
father's dead. It's like, what?
what do you mean?
Hey,
Yeah.
oh, you're awake? Cool. Your brother's dead. It's
Yeah.
like, what? Like, give me a chance. I
Mhm.
liked his entrance into the war room too.
Oh, it's such a
Stomp,
contrast, right?
stomping
But
down the cane.
with the cane, because it reminded me so much of the first time that they all enter as a family. You just see that they're reduced to these four when they like there was like a whole
Yeah,
bunch of them, that made me really sad. But it was also like the sea snake is alive and he's in control and he's still, he's coming in and he's I felt like he was testing her, right? He's like, oh, well, what's going on? Where are your allies? This is not enough people to win a thing. And he like was giving her all these reasons. Everything that he was saying, I think if he had said it to Damon, would have had a completely opposite reaction. And I think that he wanted to see that Auntie Ray was right about her.
right. That she's the one holding the realm together because she's
Hmm.
wary of starting a war.
Yes.
But I do wonder if she didn't want to start a war, how exactly did she mean to get her throne back? I mean, she
That's a,
did also later say that she didn't want to be the first one to strike,
yeah. Yeah.
which
Yeah. And
is
she was like,
honorable in its
she's like,
own
it's
way.
not, I don't want to take, she's like, not about, she wants to be cautious. She wants to be cautious. She's like, I'm not saying we're not going to do anything. I'm saying we're going to think about what we're doing and then we're going to plan and do something that makes sense. Um,
Right.
but I thought it was really cute when Corliss was talking. There's a little moment where Lucerys, he had like had his hands on the table, he like stands up straight and he like composes himself and he walks in. I was like, oh, it's so cute. Oh, but all those moments with him make me sad.
Oh, I know. When you know it's coming.
Yeah, I didn't expect that this episode, honestly.
But with Corliss comes the support of Driftmark and the
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, they didn't call it the Iron Fleet then, did they?
No, I haven't heard it called that yet.
No,
Um,
that's a later thing.
yeah,
Like
but
hundreds of years later when Robert's king, they call it the Iron Fleet, right?
yeah, I think so. Um, and he was like, "Yeah, by the way, we have like stepstones are ours now, so let's create a blockade and starve out King's Landing." Whew, so smart, just like politically.
Yeah, I mean, they have the Lannister fleet, but Lannisters aren't as powerful
And they're on the other
as,
side.
yeah, they're on the other side.
I mean, the other side of the other side of they're on the side of the Greens, but also on the other side of Westeros.
Right. Yeah, I got
Yeah.
what you meant. The
Okay.
other side of Westeros.
Yeah.
They're dead. They're on the other side.
Ooh.
um, and then, we get Rhaenys's open support now, offering to
Hmm.
support by patrolling the gullet on Meleys. And if that means we get more Rhaenys in her armor, I am here for it.
Yes.
I'm here for it. I love Rhaenys in her armor. I love the idea of Rhaenys jumping headlong into this war right next to
Yeah.
her husband
Hmm.
and, showing them what Targaryen women are made of.
Yes. I love it. I love it.
We get Jace going to Winterfell and Luke to Storm's End and Daemon singing a dragon lullaby. Now that dragon,
Oh,
do you think that was Vermithor?
I think that was Vermithor, the Bronze Fury.
Ah,
Yes.
I'm so excited for the next season. I can't believe we have to wait
It's
at
like
least
how
a
do you
year.
like And I thought it because I knew that when he had the torch and he was going, well, he wasn't present at the meeting, first of all, but when he had the torch and he was walking in, I was like, he's singing in High Valerian, you know? I was
Hmm.
like, there's got to be a dragon. He's coming. He knows he's announcing his presence, but he's coming as a non-threatening entity. I thought that like the gaslighter fire was like a bit much and too long for me and super fakey, but whatever.
Oh,
I
from the dragon.
Yes, it just went on for too long. I
He
was
should
like,
have been sweating, right?
yeah, well, that too, all that leather.
His weave will melt. That synthetic hair.
Mm-hmm. You could tell. Want to see human hair next year, guys.
No,
Budget,
to get
budget for that.
to get human hair in white is way too hard to get it
I,
that color.
I'll take it in platinum.
Mm.
Mm,
It's difficult though. It's
yeah.
difficult to get it that shade. We don't get to see Jace in Winterfell, so I'm assuming that
Well,
actually I assume that they'll probably skip over showing him at Winterfell next season.
I don't know it because I feel like Winterfell is an important part of the story, and it like we'll just assume it's going to take a little longer to get there than it is
That's
to
true.
we know that Storm's End was a short trip, and that's why she sent that's why she thought sent Luke. She was like, oh, you'll just go and you'll come right back,
And
and
she was
that miscalculation,
so
yes.
wrong about Boris. Oh, he'll be flattered to host a prince and blah blah blah. Like it's like,
Well,
girl,
the
you don't know him.
the thing is, like, he was just
Yeah,
late.
just the wrong prince.
Wrong prince. And like this is where what I was saying about this is where you see that Otto is much, much, much better at this than she is. And how because he's got like he's got we'll call it battle experience, but he's got the experience. He knows that you can't come to people without an offer. You can't
Right.
just
And
say,
a marriage,
hey,
what's better than a marriage offer?
yeah. It's like what you should have planned for that. You should have said, okay, well, we're gonna come remind you, sure. Like the Starks, okay. You can bet that they will probably follow you because we know that
Well,
they
they
don't
say
break their
the
oaths.
Starks never forget an oath, right?
Right. But the Baratheons, even though they're your cousins, like what are you coming with? You're not offering them anything. You're just saying, hey, 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 like and he like they said, he wasn't the one who took the oath, it was his father.
And to say like I'm reminding you of your father's oath is
Mhm.
a little bit, hmm, how should I say it? Patronizing,
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
insulting,
Insulting a
definitely.
little bit. Yeah.
Because on the
Eh,
one hand, it presumes that I intend to break the oath, and on the other hand,
exactly.
yeah, and on the other hand, it's like it's just kind of like, who the fuck do you think you're talking to?
Yeah. It
Like
was rude.
instead of asking my support
Hmm.
in as a way to confirm it. But I mean, she is the queen. The queen doesn't ask for anything. But
The
at
queen
this
does.
case, but in this case, when you're trying to gather allies,
Yes. You have to come with something. You
you got
can't
to
come
come with a
because you can't
spoonful of sugar.
exactly. And she sent her kids off empty-handed, and he didn't make the mistake that another princeling, quote unquote princeling made later, and just it's like okay, I'll marry one of your daughters. And cause a
And
whole other problem,
oh,
but
Rob.
hmm, but yeah, it wasn't smart of her politically to just send a messenger without like anything to sweeten the deal.
Right, right. And she talked about who was it? Which house was it that she said is fickle? In any case,
Uh,
she talks about this house being fickle, meanwhile not realizing who Boros Baratheon is. And also you would think that he would support Rhaenyra considering he's also related to Rhaenys,
mm-hmm.
but clearly he doesn't care. Maybe Rhaenys doesn't
No,
visit.
his illiterate ass.
Yeah, I was like, can he not read? Like, no wonder
He
he's so
can't,
mean. He knows he can't read. How do you become the Lord and you never learn to read?
you know. It's
Even
so
Jamie learned to read.
even Jay because Tywin was not going to let him go through the world illiterate. He was like, and we know how Tywin's parenting, Tywin's parenting style. But it
Yeah.
was so funny. It's like, okay, so not only are you sending me like it was funny when he was like, oh, the Targaryen, the House of the Dragon doesn't know who's running things, right?
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
like when you see Lucerys land with Arax in the yard, and the guards are just kind of like, okay, and then all of a sudden you get get
Giant
it,
ass Vagar.
Vagar, and you're like, oh, wait a second. They're all the energy they're giving is, oh, we've seen bigger, like
Uh-huh.
totally unfazed by it. So you're sending like a younger prince, a prince with a smaller dragon, a prince with no offer against, a male king who's got, who's sitting the Iron Throne and has, as Otto was saying, has all the symbols of the conquest. He's got the name, he's got the sword, he's on the throne, he's got the sword, I said name, sword, crown,
Crown.
crown, and all these things. Um, yeah, it's a very pitiful offering.
It is. And when you see Cyrax landing, it was Cyrax, right?
Arax.
Arax,
Hmm.
okay. Arax landing, like you said, Arax landing in like the courtyard. Meanwhile, I was gonna say Vermithor, Vagar's
Vagar.
body is towering over the height, some of the tall towers.
Yeah,
Which side are you gonna pick?
exactly. You're like, oh,
Like the
who
child with
got litter?
the baby
Exactly.
dragon, or this one who looks like he could burn down my castle like Harrenhal?
Like, yeah, which one is the real threat here? Because she said, what did she say? She like remind them of their oaths and like what it costs to break it. And he's like, actually, I can afford that.
Yeah,
Check, please.
Vagar is the biggest dragon
Hmm.
that they have and is extremely old. And I think only Vermithor comes close
Yeah.
in age and size.
Yep.
So it's like, do you want to be on the side of the
He's the
people?
third biggest one. Yeah. It was like there I was reading before and it was it's Balerion, Vagar, and then Vermithor.
Right. And
Yeah.
Balerion's dead.
Yep.
So we have the last two old and huge ones. And probably, but Balerion remembered old Valyria. He was the only one, right? Remembered
I
old
think so.
Valyria. Anyway, yeah, what side do you take? Do you want to become another Harrenhal?
Mm-mm. I did enjoy seeing Storm's End in its full glory though.
Me too. Within all its storms.
With
It's
all
like
its
always
stuff. I was like,
hurricane
why do you
season.
want to live there? Not me.
It's a
Thank
hurricane
you.
season year round.
Although I need a Storm's End t-shirt. I'll make that
Yeah.
happen. Shout out to
Yeah.
merch.
So
Oh
we
man.
see Aemond and his soon to be bride.
Mm-hmm.
And we also finally get to see the Sapphire Eye.
Yep.
What did you think about how it was done?
I thought it reminded me of a White Walker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was my first impression. I was like, oh, whoa, White Walker. Um, but I thought it was a cool reveal. I thought it worked for me.
I liked the way it looked, but I didn't think it looked like a sapphire.
No.
It just looked like his eye socket was glowing blue.
Yeah, I mean it was very blue. Speaking
Yeah.
of sapphires, I forgot I remember hearing afterwards and I remember like Evenfall is in
Oh,
Tarth.
yeah. That's
Yeah, where
where
Brienne was
Corlys was
from, and
healing.
that's where Corlys was. Yeah.
Yeah. Brienne's home.
Stop. Stop,
Brienne.
please. Oh man. Yeah. And then he's in
Aemon.
there just starting. Just go ahead.
No,
Starting
I was gonna
shit.
say. So now Aemond. I mean, let's talk about Aemon and what happens in Boris's court, and also go straight into this dragon fight, which is what we've all been waiting for, right? Um, Aemon goes into psycho mode with that whole "Give me your eye!" Like
I
he
know.
he absolutely lost his shit and was psychotic in that moment,
To remind you of his
and
mother losing her shit in her moment.
slicing Rhaenyra's arm, yes,
Mm-hmm.
and when he chases Luke on his dragon, I don't see how he could have thought anything but death was going to happen.
Yeah, and I don't see how Boris didn't see that this was coming and be like, "I'm sorry, my prince. Can you just stay here until blah 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 blah?" Like, okay, he
I
can't
don't
really
think
reach,
Boris
and
cared.
he had the power to do it. I mean, he just cared about not having blood spilled in his hallway. But I feel like politically, it would have been a smart move just to like either send them both to their rooms. You both stay for the night. It's stormy outside. You leave in the morning. You leave in the afternoon. Whatever. I feel like.
I don't think he'd want a whole night with the two of them under the same roof.
Oh God, it's so annoying.
The
I feel
way
like
the
I
way
feel like a
Aemond was
smarter
acting,
king would have done, or a smarter king, a smarter lord would
Well,
have like understood the implications of what was happening.
well, Boros, I think Boros clearly just didn't give a shit what happened as long as it didn't happen inside his court.
Yeah.
And
Ew.
Aemond, okay, first you're chasing him on a dragon. Vhagar is a war dragon.
And how did he get to his dragon so quickly?
I don't know.
Because there's that moment where Lucerys is like about to take off and he looks over and he's like,
And
oh wait,
Vhagar's
which
gone.
Aegar is gone.
Yeah.
I'm like, what
Yeah.
side exit did you slip out of, bro?
Yeah, I don't know.
And you can fly dragons in that kind of weather? It's not dangerous.
In the book it says that Arax, I
Mm-hmm.
keep messing this up. It said that
Yeah.
Arax was struggling in the
Yeah.
storm because of her size.
Yeah.
But Arax is also the faster
Of the
dragon
two, she's more
because
nimble because of her size, right?
right, because of her
She's
size.
yeah, she's not big
But
and bulky.
but again, to my point, because at the end we see that Aemond is telling Vhagar no, but Vhagar has seen war. If you're aiming Vhagar at a person, yelling at it that this person needs to die, and he's yelling it in High Valyrian, what
Mm-hmm.
do you think the outcome is going to be?
Yeah, I mean, all man, I like the reason like I hated the scene because it was like emotionally just like too tense for me. But I really enjoyed it because this is where you're seeing the dragon, they don't have control of the dragons really,
No,
right?
it's like
It's
Viserys
like
said.
asking, it's like you, oh please obey, blah 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 blah. And I think we can go back to that actually, because I'm glad that you said that. I wanted to bring that up before. Um well, we can talk about now because when Viserys asked Rhaenyra, like, what's the difference between us and regular men? Like the dragons, it's she, and Rhaenyra's like, well, without the dragons, we're just like everyone else. And he's like, exactly. And then you have Damon saying dragons made us kings. Dragons make us kings. And we're like, no, 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 no. You guys don't really actually control the dragons. They like abide by you, they tolerate you at best because it's beneficial for them. Maybe you feed them regularly. But you see there, it's just like there's very, very thin like veneer of control that's happening because Lucerys is saying, Arax, like, obeyed me and don't do this and don't, but like the dragon's like, I'm in fucking mortal
Yeah, I
danger,
was gonna
bro.
say Arax is fighting for her life, or his. I don't know what it is. To me, all dragons are girls. Arax is fighting for her. Arax, except Balerion for some reason.
Mhm.
Arax is fighting for her life.
I think it's Shrek.
She's huh?
Shrek.
Huh, maybe Shrek did this to me. You're right.
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah, she's fighting for her life and trying to protect herself. So even when she comes back and blows flame into Vagar's face,
Yeah,
it's in an attempt to get away.
exactly. It's an
And so
evasive measure.
whether or not Aemond intended for Vhagar to bite Arax in half, it doesn't
Oh,
matter because you started the situation and
he's
put Vhagar in war mode. How
exactly.
is the dragon supposed to know you're just trying to bully?
Exactly. Like this is like the game, like as soon as you left the hall, it was too far.
Yeah,
As soon as you called him a bastard in the hall, it was too far. As soon as you
called him
called him
Lord
Lord
Strong.
Strong, it was too far. Like you're there as like just know your role. That's not why you're here.
And
That's
it's like,
not why you're
okay,
here.
you didn't mean for him to be hurt, so were you really gonna take his eye then?
Yeah. You just wanted to scare him a little bit. Like, okay, but that's how people get hurt. And like when I
He
tell
fucked
you, like,
around. He
oh,
fucked around
I don't
and he found out.
know, dude, I screamed when Vagar came out and bit. I was like,
Even
I
before that,
screamed. Did not expect. I mean, I knew that something bad was. I knew once they were flying after. I knew where we were in Fire and Blood.
right,
Right. I knew it was going to
right.
happen. I knew it was the end for poor Lucerys. And I had flashbacks to every moment we had a close up on him in this episode. I was like, fuck, I should have known. But um, when he came out of Vagar came out of the clouds and just like,
Even before that,
whew, the
when he's flying on Eric's looking around, and then you see Vagar's huge body just floating right above.
oh my
And it's like
god.
you get an idea of exactly how much bigger Vagar is.
It's like it takes him like three wing flaps to completely fly past. It's just like you're looking up, you see the head, and then you just see body, and then there's like tail and more tail and more tail, and then he's gone. That
So
was so scary.
you saw legs and hips and body, body.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was
Oh.
terrifying. It was like a horror movie to see that shadow. And then he's
Mhm.
looking, at one point, he's looking to his right, and you see Vagar coming up on his left. And this
Yeah.
is not when not when Vagar bit them, but just coming up. And so it's like you looking all over the place, and all these clouds, the storm, you have
Mhm.
no idea where this dragon has come from. Meanwhile, um, Aemond is egging it on and
Yeah.
making it seem like he's gonna kill him.
Yeah.
Like he's actively trying to kill him. And again, Vagar
And
is
then
a
he's trying
war
to
dragon.
get
Vagar has seen
control of him
war.
too late. It's too late to
Yeah,
tell him no.
right. Because now the other dragon has blown fire in his face.
It's like we weren't playing around. It's like we know the dragons know that you guys are mad at each other. Oh, and I thought it was like the first time that we really got to see like what the connect really the connection we well no that's not true because we see I forgot Rhaenyra's dragon's name um
She has no, Damon has Caraxes, right?
yeah Damon is no Damon has Syrax.
Syrax. She has
She
Caraxes
has
then.
Caraxes, okay.
Yeah.
um and
God,
you
it's so
see
hard to
like
keep
that
track of.
struggling, yeah.
We need to make a dragon chart.
We do. It's like the only name that doesn't mess me up is Vermithor because who named that one?
Yeah.
It's just like you see these things and you just see it like it's the first time that you're seeing like the disconnect between dragon and dragon rider and seeing that you don't control him. And we haven't seen that really since Daenerys's dragon when what's his name? The big black and red one.
Drogon.
Where Drogon kind of goes off and is like, I do my own thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
you're right.
know? Oh, so scary and so crazy. And it's just like the violence of that scene, like Lucerys is gone in one bite, and then there goes the pieces
We don't
of
even see
Arax.
Luke's body.
No, as I assume that he's down the throat
Yeah.
of Vagar. So crazy, but
Vhagar
it
could have
was
swallowed them whole.
both of them, both of them. And it's the other thing about it is like, well, so I do like the fighting in the clouds. I thought that was
Hmm.
really cool. It did remind me of Kaladin's and Seth's fight in the air in the clouds, which I can't wait to see on screen eventually. But it also showed me just, you know, how like Aemon, we know that he wasn't planning to do that, but like that's his first kill. That's the
Yeah.
first time he's ever killed somebody and he's feeling it and it's just like, oh no.
And his first kill makes him not only a killer, but a kinslayer.
Mhm. No one is as accursed as the kid slayer.
But again, what do you think is going to happen when you take your dragon up and start chasing somebody with it? A
Yeah.
dragon that has seen all these wars and is hundreds of years old.
Oh my God. So you know how childish she is. I
Yes,
mean, it
he's
shows
very,
how
he
just
was
how childish they
childish.
both are, that they're just little boys.
Yeah,
Like
playing at war.
riding weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
Awful, awful, awful.
Before we do spoiler chat, what do you think we're going to start with next season?
Well, I would just comment on we have to comment on Rhaenyra's last look of this episode, right?
Yes, when she gets the
Because
news. First of all,
Damon gets the
how'd they get
news.
the news so fast anyway? Did somebody see the body and be like, oh shit,
I
somebody called
mean,
Sarah?
that's why I was wondering. I was like, what happens? I was like, are we going to go back to King's Landing and you have to see him confess that this happened? But like, I thought it was smarter that we got Damon giving her, and he like, she's in the middle of a war council, and I guess she's put him in his place because he comes over quietly and he just takes her by the hand, and it's like,
Well, I mean, to tell her another one of her children has died today is,
today, it's three
it's
deaths.
a
It's like the
lot.
Caribbean people. They all come in threes,
They
and they
come
did in
in
this
threes.
episode. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Oh,
And
but
that
you
look
just
on
see
her
her,
face.
the look on her face and the way that she held like had a deep breath and she was like walking
She
and then she did that
stumbled.
stumbled. Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
that was so
Yeah.
well
I
acted.
felt so bad for her. Even from behind. Emma does such a
Mhm.
great job.
Yes.
The way the
They killed
shoulders
it.
kind of go up and then like stumble.
Oh,
And oh my God, they absolutely killed it.
they killed
Emmys,
it.
please. All the Emmys. All the
Please, please,
Emmys.
please. Oh, but then the look when you turned around, like I was on my couch and I was screaming. I was like, "We're going, bitch! Let's go! Let's go!" I was like, "That's all we needed. That's all we." My neighbors must think I'm crazy because like I was yelling at this same wall last night. Um, And I was like, it wasn't about the Celtics, it was about dragons. But yeah.
And I
Oh
feel like at this
man.
point, I kept seeing people comparing it to Danny going mad. I don't think
It's not the
Rhaenyra has
same.
and I don't think Rhaenyra has gone mad. I think
No.
Rhaenyra is now like, oh, okay, so
Okay. Let's do this.
you want to start this shit? All right, let's
Because
start
let's
this
not
shit.
forget that Rhaenyra was ready to go to war as a child. She was like, let's take dragon riders and solve this. And
Right.
since then she has learned how to be diplomatic, and she's learned restraint. And we see that she's come a long way. So no, I think that's a really honestly shitty comparison. She's not going mad, Danny, because the writing's better, first of all. But it's she's like, no, she said that she did wasn't going to strike the first blow, but now
And now
she's got just cause.
the first blow has been struck.
Yep, she's got to go avenge the death of her son. Let the Damons out.
Yeah, they didn't we didn't get the lines from the book about her son and about her daughter,
Mm,
about avenging them and all that.
yeah. Well,
That's
maybe we
okay.
get that next season in the beginning. Because I,
Maybe.
I felt like it was a really powerful cliffhanger just to end on her face, just like, all right,
See, and
resolve.
remember I was saying I thought it would end with her finding out about Viserys and having the baby.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, the having the stillbirth.
Yeah.
I didn't know we'd also see. I mean, obviously, I didn't know anything. I didn't think we'd also see Luke's death so early. I
No,
thought
I
that was
didn't
gonna come.
either.
I thought that was gonna come next season,
I
as they
did
start
too.
planning.
I really did too. I did not expect that to happen this season, but I think they were like, let's give them a little taste of what's to come. And you know what? Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Oh,
Excellent.
wow.
All in all, an excellent first season, I think.
I think so too. I adore it. I adore the show.
I did too.
I loved every episode. I really did.
Do you
There
like
was
it better than
something.
season one of Game of Thrones?
Ooh. Oh, I almost want to say yes.
Yeah, I gotta think. I have to
Yeah.
think about it. I gotta watch
I
again and think about
almost
it.
want to say yes. It's just because I think that they get into it in a way that they can't get into it in the first season of Game of Thrones because there's just so many characters to introduce.
Right, and all
And
the
you have
different
so many,
lands.
like all the lands and just all the different motivations and world building that has to happen in that first season. And here it's just like it's one family. It's you know right away what's going on. I mean, I thought that Game of Thrones, obviously, in that first season, there's a lot of really amazing conversations that happen and a lot of a lot of intrigue that happens. Um, but oh man, I have to think about it. But I'm leaning towards yes. But I haven't watched the
Right.
first season in a while
Me neither.
because I
That's why I
guess
said
it
I have to
makes me
think about it.
sad.
I know.
Maybe I'll watch the first season again. I mean, I do really love it. It is really good.
I haven't decided if I like it better yet. I have to think about it.
I think you know what? The acting is better in this first season.
Yeah, that's true.
The acting is better all around. Um, in House of the Dragons first season compared to Game of Thrones' first season. Everyone is still a little bit like awkward and kind of learning each other. It gets
Hmm.
better as you go on, but here it's like everybody had such a strong start.
I really loved young Rhaenyra too.
Me too.
I
Ugh,
don't recall her name.
Molly, no. Mm,
Molly Ringwald.
she likes pink. Um, let's see, young Rhaenyra actress. Oh, come on, Millie Alcock.
Millie Alcock. Okay.
That's close.
Yeah, you were. You were. Do you want to get into spoilers now?
Let's do
All right. Spoiler section. It
it.
is time for you
Ooh.
to get out of here.
Happy listening.
Spoilers.
Thank you.
Spoilers. Book spoilers in five, four, three, two, one. All right. I am
Mm,
ready to see Eric and Eric fight.
me too.
I'm ready to see it because we're told that we're told two stories. One, that they each struck a fatal blow to each other at the same time and
Mm-hmm.
just died.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
then we're also told that they fatally wounded each other and died like with tears in their eyes, like holding
Yeah.
each other or something like
That's the
that.
story I like best.
It's very romantic.
Yes.
It's very romantic. And it's far more dramatic than just like, oh shit, we both. So what I think I would like is, instead of them embracing each other as they die, for them to each strike a killing blow and die slowly looking at each other and being like, what the fuck are we doing?
It's
But
not
it's
even
too
our
late.
fight. It's not even
Yeah.
about us. Who are these people? They're not our family. Why did we do this?
Yeah, like all of that showing in the eyes. I'm here for
Hmm.
that. I'm here for that. Um,
I want them to like reach out, like one of them to reach out for the other and the other one to die just a second before he can reach back.
oh my God, like in Romeo plus Juliet,
Yes.
they have that brief moment where they're both
Like a
awake,
lot.
but their one's
Yes.
dying. And yeah.
Ah,
Oh,
ah,
it's so heart-wrenching. It's so
yes.
heart-wrenching to see twin against twin is gonna be
Yeah.
really sad. Um, we
Oh,
also are gonna so we'll probably see Jason Winterfell, you think.
yeah. I think we'll see Jason Winterfell.
I'm looking
Um,
forward to meeting Cregan Stark because she said that
Me
he's closer in
too.
age to Cregan Stark. So we're gonna get a I've always
Mhm.
thought Cregan Stark was like old.
An old and grizzled man. Me too.
Maybe they describe him that way.
I have to
I
look it
don't
up.
recall.
Refer to the text.
Yeah. I'm gonna reread up to Luke's death.
Yeah. Oh,
Just because
we have enough time. Yeah.
yeah, I want to do it. I'm gonna
Oh,
but
maybe
just
we
up to
should
Luke's
just do
death.
a book episode then.
Okay.
Book versus ship. We're just kind of trying to concoct ways to keep this going.
Yeah.
We love it so much.
So much.
Oh,
What other spoiler do we need to talk about? Oh, Blood and Cheese, Son for a Son.
yes.
We'll get to see Helena go mad.
Hmm.
So I definitely think Blood and Cheese is next season,
Yeah.
early in the season.
Or I mean, nothing to set it off like that.
Yeah, and I mean the whole thing is like Luke got killed, and
Luke
so
got
now he's
killed,
gonna take
right?
one of their sons.
So maybe we just maybe that's the opening of the episode, you know? Like you know how they never do wait, do they play it? No, they don't do the opening in the first episode. They do the opening in the second episode.
Mm.
The intro of the second episode. But like maybe that's what we see. It's like maybe the episode opens up and it's like they're walking through like the tunnels and the back tunnels in the castle, and then that scene happens, which we know what happened.
That'd be a crazy way to start though. I feel like
Hmm.
you need to warm up to that.
Uh, but I just give it to us, give it to us.
I
We're
do
like,
think it'll
oh,
come early. I do think it'll come early. Like maybe even in episode 1 or 2,
yeah.
but because it's in response to Luke, so we have to get to it quickly,
Hmm.
and then we'll get to see Helena's real madness start.
Yeah. And I'm wondering if we're gonna see Rhaenyra Auntie Ray's. I'm just calling her Auntie Ray forever now. Auntie Ray's you know, I guess this is a spoiler section.
Yeah,
Auntie Ray's death. Um,
yeah,
I feel
it
like I
is a
would have to.
spoiler section. You can say
Yeah, yeah.
it.
It's like I'm in denial because I don't really want to see her go too. I don't want to see her go either.
And then
Uh,
also Damon with the sword through Aemon's eye.
mhm.
The what is it over the God's Eye they were fighting, I
Yeah,
believe.
I
I'm
think
looking
that's
forward to that fight. I wonder if we'll get that in season 2 because I feel like that moves too far ahead to have Damon die. So
yeah,
maybe we'll get that in like season 3.
maybe. But it's like I mean, this season moved along pretty fairly quickly too, though, right? With the
It
time
moved along
jumps.
quickly, but we've barely even gotten into the story.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Oh my God, how exciting!
I am very excited.
I
I
can't
think
wait.
those are really the only spoilery things I wanted to say. I don't want
Mhm.
to go on too long. So I think it's been about an hour or so.
Yeah. Wow.
Um,
I mean, I'm clapping and I'm tired now, but I'm clapping in my mind.
well, we can
uh,
wrap up. We can wrap up.
Yay.
I've been Tanya,
I'm always Nikki.
and we'll hopefully see you soon on a live stream. Stay tuned for that type of information. To find previous episodes, go to thousandeyespodcast.com. You can also find us on YouTube, A Thousand Eyes in One Podcast. And if you'd like to follow us on social media, we're on Twitter as Thousand Eyes One, Facebook and Instagram, A Thousand Eyes in One. If you're interested in our speculative fiction book club, that is Wine on an Empty Stomach on Instagram.